Hello and welcome to another review by MaX RaY. Today we'll be reviewing Fallen Earth, a game that was released in 2009 by Reloaded Productions. Recently has gone free to play. As usual, we're going to start where you will in character creation. So we have a fairly strong character creation here. Let's see, so we can go in, pick a different head here. They want you to kind of look as strange as possible, apparently. But we're not going to do that. So we're going to pick something a little more basic. And let's see. Be good there. Let's make an older guy here. How about some hair that doesn't look terrible? If we can find that, that is. Some interesting options here. Okay, let's see. Got that. Let's get the color here. Yeah, I don't think so. So, quite a few options. Let's go with something like that. Let's see. The first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this ridiculous face paint here. Or I guess they're actually tattoos. Because I don't think we need a whole bunch of face tattoos. But hey, if you're into that, there's plenty of options there. Okay, so let's go back in. Let's change this a little bit. This must just be our sideburns here. Yeah, there we go. Go in here. Let's say, we're gonna do the Abraham Lincoln. There, we're just gonna go there. Let's see. No, I don't think we want anything like that. Clear that out. Okay, now. How big of a guy do we want? We'll go there. Wow, yeah, I don't really care about that. So here we can add tattoos onto the body. Obviously your starting shirt and shoes are only going to matter for a couple of minutes. So that's fine. And I guess that looks like about it. I'll show you a female real quick. Pretty much the same thing. Same options, everything else applies except for instead of body hair, they now have a body piercing, and of course a little bit of makeup. Alright, well, as usual, we're going to jump right into the game. Okay, so we're going to start off with the gear here. This game definitely has some interesting armor and a lot of different individual parts of it. So, you can see all the different areas here that you can actually put armor on. So, let's go with a pair of pants. And then your shirt. Let's get some boots on. Then you even get shoulders and forearms, as well as gloves. And then you got your actual armor itself. The shirt itself, though, if you look, even that does give you some armor there, so each individual piece helps. Do that. We got our arms, and then generally you don't need this, but that's just in case we run into some kind of poison or something. Pretty in depth on that. Okay. So we'll head out. I guess we can go over weapons real quick. That's also pretty big. So as you can see, we have several different spaces here. We got our sword on our back, and then we got 2 machetes, and then 2 guns. Generally, you want to be specialized in kind of one area or the other. I'm kind of split between these two, which you don't get the strongest, but I do like the ranged as well as the close-up, so I don't always play the way you're supposed to. Okay, so where I want to go with first is probably going to be exploration. This game has a pretty wide open world. It takes place in and around the Grand Canyon, and it's supposedly geographically correct to an extent. I'm not sure how true that is, but as you can see, we're here, so it's a fairly reasonably big map. Now this also is just the first area. You head up here, you can go into another area, and I believe there are 3. So somewhere around here I have a motorcycle, but I have no idea where it is, so we're going to go over here where I can get it called up to me. Or towed in, they say. Bring that in. This is obviously going to make traveling much faster. Okay, so where we actually want to head is going to be this way. Oh. You can see right here, this is where my pet is. I want to go pick him up. Motorcycles are faster if you're on the road as opposed to on the dirt. Okay, so we made it to a little town. We're going to go over probably some salvaging and probably inadvertently do some combat. The salvaging and farming is great in this game, as well as the crafting. The combat, not so much, but does have its own kind of charm, I suppose. So first thing we're going to do is get a couple of weapons out here. And pretty much anything that's out, you can collect once you get the skill for it. First, I'm gonna run over and get rid of this guy right here. Where you aim, your little reticule does depend on where your damage is, so it's pretty easy to miss, which is, I guess a good thing. So here we found some kind of plant. Let's see, this is whatever, it gives us sugar. We take that. All these things that you collect, you can then use to create items later, or potions or whatever. It's pretty involved, so I'll show you that separately. But here we can just go through some garbage cans, found some paper, and let's see. So we got a lot of sugar plants here. Let's switch weapons. Now, for those of you that prefer first-person shooters, you can go into that mode. Oh, should have reloaded first. Okay, so when you're exploring or traveling, it is a pretty cool little world they've made here. A lot of broken down machines, equipment. You can see old freeway overpasses broken down. They definitely have done a good job with the feeling. You can actually build farms and some kind of temporary buildings and stuff, and it has a really good end of the world feel to it. So we got quite a bit of driving here to get to where I'm going, so I'm going to skip forward for you to save you some time. Okay, so here we are in Embry. This is kind of a large town, a little bit of a hub right here in the beginning. So first thing we're going to do is head over to one of our shops. This here's the auction house where you can buy things, of course. Now when you are doing crafting, it actually goes faster if you're inside of a workshop. And so you do want to find one of those if you have a lot of stuff to craft. The crafting is done really well. You can actually get ahead of your level, so you can craft items that you can't use yet, which is great. So you're not stuck using things that aren't good enough. Okay, so if we bring up these are your attributes here, you go to your trade skills, it'll show you what level you can create at this point. So lots of different options. So let's go into, let's say we want to make a hatchet for somebody. So we're going to need these materials. So let's talk to her. We can get a scrap fastener. We'll buy one of those. Now we're going to need 2 more scraps of wood. Now all this stuff you can find actually out just scavenging, but if you do want to make something, this is the faster way to do it. Now we're also going to need some weak adhesive. Now you can see she doesn't have any.
Guess we're done. Wow, a real clone.
And
Hey, buy something.
ballistics doesn't have any, so let's head right over here where we have our armor craft merchant.
All my stuff is the best.
And
really?
weak adhesive. So we need 2 of them. Now you can see it turns green, so we have enough to make it.
Stay out of trouble.
We're going to go back into the workshop over here. Okay, and so now we can create. Opens up your little window down here. You can see it'll be 9 minutes and 21 seconds to create that. You don't have to hold still, you can just continue and then it'll get made when it's made. Now you see that 9 minutes. If we leave the workshop, it does increase quite a bit there. So once that's created, you just simply go down here and you'll be able to accept it. It goes into your inventory, then you can sell it or use it, whichever you prefer. And again, lots of different options on things you can make. If you're using guns, you can not only, when you go to build the guns, let's say you want to build this one, you see you have to make several components. Now you could buy these, but you'd have to buy them off other characters. So the best way to do it is you go into your components here, and you'll individually build each part. You'll build the grip for it, you'll build the action, so they call it, as well as the barrels, and then once you have all the parts built, then you can assemble the gun. It's also great, you can make your own ammunition, and it doesn't require that much stuff, a few raw materials and then some gunpowder. So you definitely want to take advantage of your crafting if you can. Also, you can make different amounts of food. Food's important. It gives you this here you get a health generation by 3 for 1 hour. There are better ones, but those actually help you out in the world when you're fighting. Science is some other stuff. You can actually make dyes, change your stuff, your clothes. Now construction's an interesting one because you can actually build whole farms that are real. They actually stand up, and you can then use them to farm materials and different things that you need more. And you can once you get farther in the second area, you can use harvesters that'll actually go around and collect things for you. And you can also build camps, whether you just want to build a campfire, which is just nice to have and boost some of your abilities, or you can do like the firing range, which is going to increase, I believe it's your damage or your aim or whichever. So a lot of different options, a lot of different really good things. So we went over combat a little bit. There's really not much more to go over with it. You do have a few abilities down here. They're minimal at best. The combat's the main short side to this game. They spent a lot of time going through everything else, but it does suffer a little bit. I'm going to go over PvP just very briefly. It's basically the same as your combat, but with another character. It does keep track, and there are some games you can get into further. But I'm sure there's many tutorials on PvP, or I may do one later for it. Let's see. Other than that, the only thing we'd have to look at is our skills when you do go to level up. So you get mutations and abilities. It's really, your best way to do it would be to go through, play the tutorial. When you start out, you do go into a tutorial that's going to give you a little bit of equipment. But really the best way, if you're interested in this game, is just to go ahead and get into it. It's a little bit complicated, and there's just a lot of different options on what you want to do. Try to pick one or two styles of weaponry and stick with it. As far as the armor goes, whether you join a guild and people can make things for you, or do what I did and just spend a lot of points on being able to create stuff, you do get some pretty quickly, you do get to make some pretty good weapons and armor. So, all in all, a pretty good game. I would say, with the gameplay, the stories are a little lame, but with everything, I would give it an 8. But with the combat being so one-sided, I'm going to move my score down to about a 6 or a 7, depending on what kind of game you're looking for. So, anyway, that's it for Fallen Earth. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you on the next review.